So guys, in this next news story, Curtis Warren has been arrested 7 months after being released from prison in a dawn raid after it's believed he breached his terms of his serious crime prevention order. Warren, who is from Liverpool, was arrested at around 6 o'clock this morning when officers from the NCA found him at a residence in Boldon Colliery in South Tyneside. Warren, who's 60 years old, is currently being held in custody and being questioned over alleged breaches of his order, which came into effect when he was released from prison in November after serving 14 years. The breaches refer to an unauthorised use of mobile phones, vehicles, bank accounts and travel, according to a statement from the NCA. Officers from the agency carried out searches at the location in Boldon and another address in the Royal Albert Dock area of Liverpool. Mobile devices, documents and a quantity of cash were seized, and they are now being examined by investigators, it's been confirmed. On Warren's arrest, Alison Abbott from the NCA's Lifetime Management of Offenders team said, "This court orders are vital tools for preventing and deterring future offending. Once criminals come onto our radar, they never leave, and the NCA will take action over breaches." So it's believed that his former barrister, Anthony Barraclough, stated, "I can confirm that he was arrested at 6 o'clock this morning and any breaches will be minor transgressions. This will be very fine interpretation of restrictions I anticipate, and I imagine he was in Tyneside to visit friends. He is allowed to travel and have mobile phones, bank accounts and up to £1,000 in cash, and he can travel abroad if he gives 7 days notice. If he is going to be away from home, he needs permission, and he has had permission. I have not spoken to him yet as he's in custody." So the charge of breaching a serious crime prevention order is a criminal offence and can carry a maximum sentence of up to 5 years and an unlimited fine. So Warren was released from prison in November after serving the majority of the last 25 years inside.
At this moment in time, okay, you're under arrest on suspicion of breach of a serious crime prevention order. Okay, so you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which will later rely in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, alright? The grounds for this arrest are, since you're released from prison back in the last year, you've been subject to a serious crime prevention order, which obviously has certain restrictions and stuff like that on you. Obviously, as part of that National Crime Agency investigation, we've identified that you've breached that order on a number of occasions, alright? So, this arrest is necessary for a prompt and effective investigation, and obviously prevent the loss and damage of evidence, alright?
So a bit about Warren. So Warren, he was about 12 when he dropped out of school and launched a criminal career by getting caught by police driving a stolen car. By the time he was 15 in the 70s, he'd been sentenced to 3 months in a detention centre, and at 18 was sent to Borstal for assaulting a police officer. In the 80s, Warren was sentenced to 2 years in jail for attacking a prostitute and her client. The judge told him, "But for your youth, your sentence would have been much longer." On his release, the Liverpool police say Warren transformed himself into a bouncer at the city's clubs, and then he started a business organising bouncers, and by the time he was 22, Warren was reportedly selling drugs. A number of media outlets have also stated that Warren sailed in 1991 with Brian Charrington, who was also from Merseyside, who owned a yacht to Venezuela. They were behind the importation of cocaine. The senior investigator with HM Customers, Don Dewar, stated that the pair left Heathrow Airport in a Jaguar owned by Charrington, went to a cafe in North London, and eventually went out through Dover. They travelled to Brussels and then down Malaga, up to Madrid, and then a cash-paid one-way ticket with hand baggage to Caracas. While they were there, they were seen to meet up with Mario Haley, who was apparently a key member of the Cali cartel who had travelled from Amsterdam, and this was when the shipment was organised. After the drugs trial collapsed at Newcastle Crown Court back in 1993, Warren reportedly told customs officers, "I'm off to spend my millions from the shipment and you can't fucking touch me." 3 years later, he was sentenced to 12 years in jail by Dutch authorities for trying to move £125 million worth of drugs from the Netherlands to the UK. In 96, the Dutch police, who had been eavesdropping on his phone calls, intercepted 400 kilos of cocaine. At other addresses controlled by Warren, they also found over a ton of cannabis resin, 60 kilos of heroin, and 50 kilos of ecstasy. There were also 960 CS gas canisters, 3 guns ammunition, and £400,000 in Dutch guilders at the time. The whole haul was estimated to be worth £125 million. Then in 1999, there was a Turkish prisoner, Kemal Gulku, who was killed in a prison over there in Holland, with Warren kicking him in the head. One of Warren's close mates said the Turkish guy was a lunatic. That same morning he was trying to bite the guards. He attacked Curtis and Curtis fought him off a couple of times. Warren said that Gulku attacked him and it was self-defense, but he had 4 years added onto his sentence for killing him. In 2007 he was released and sent back to Liverpool, but he was rearrested in Jersey within weeks on charges of conspiracy to smuggle cannabis. So prosecutors believe that he could still have nearly £200 million stashed away. However, he's going to be under close scrutiny as per the terms of the Serious Crime Prevention Order, which has been obtained by the National Crime Agency. And as I said, it's going to be monitoring and restricting his ability to hold assets at home or abroad. So in Jersey's Royal Court in St. Helier, the state's then Attorney General Hal Sharp QC set out an astonishing description of his money laundering machine. The court heard Swiss bank accounts, a Turkish property scheme, and a gold mining venture in Guyana were suspected to be part of his network. Mr. Sharp said one underworld contact referred to the drugs baron as Calvin Klein because his name was so famous. He told the court truly prolific Warren could source cocaine from South America, heroin from Turkey and Iran, and cannabis from Morocco. Warren was even described as boasting while in a Dutch prison of how he laundered £15 million in cash each week. The court heard his markets were diverse, included the UK, Brazil, Moscow, Swaziland and Australia. Mr. Sharp said back in 1996, Dutch financial investigators estimated Warren made drugs profit of £12 million in 3 months, but those figures failed to take into account multi-million-pound heroin and cannabis jobs or cocaine trafficking. The same investigation also did not consider alleged overseas trades, including deals to sell 3,000 bath interiors to Moscow and railways to South Africa. Mr. Sharp said, "We are not suggesting for any moment they were selling bathroom suites." That prosecutor had also said Warren had made 35,000 calls from behind bars while awaiting trial in Jersey to contacts across the world. After a painstaking financial investigation, Mr. Sharp said the state's investigators had arrived at a total figure of £197 million. However, the prosecutor stated, "When you take a step back and take a look at this case overall, we will be considering incredibly large chunks of cash that are crying out for an explanation as to their current whereabouts. Whether a relevant or substantive explanation from Warren will be forthcoming during its hearing remains to be seen." The Jersey investigators' case against Warren was partly based on Dutch intercepts of 4 months of phone calls involving Warren in the Netherlands after he moved to the Netherlands in the mid-90s in a bid to avoid escalating and deadly gang wars in Liverpool. Mr. Sharp described covert surveillance when Warren told a woman how his money investments were safe in the event of an arrest. He said Warren had purchased a string of properties in Turkey in the 90s, properties which have never been traced by authorities. They were said to include a petrol station which Warren was anticipating making £20,000 a month from. The court also heard the wiretap recorded evidence that Warren was involved in a £4 million gold mining venture in Guyana, which would return big money, as well as conversations about a Dutch pallet business where Warren wanted paying into a Swiss bank account. So guys, this is a new story coming in today where Curtis Warren has been arrested 7 months after his release from prison in a doored raid by the NCA. He was arrested at a location in South Tyneside. So guys, this is the latest story coming in. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.